Hey y'all, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Alyssa and I'm a 24-year-old crochet artist and business owner. And today we're going to be making this super cute Shrek ruffle hat. This was fun to make. I actually made it in this light blue shade and I also made it in this yellow shade. But yeah, and I made it in a dark green shade too. Like, it's super cute, super fun. It kind of gives me like Teletubby vibes and Shrek vibes at the same time. For this materials for this hat, we're going to be using, well today I'll be using Red Heart yarn in the shade Baby Pink. I'm also going to make it in a hot pink as well. You're going to be needing something to cut your yarn, scissors, box cutter, or you can rip it if that's your vibe. Don't get me wrong, I rip it too sometimes. Now, do you need a yarn needle? Like 100% no, but I think it's easier to sew it with the yarn needle versus trying to sew it and attach it with the crochet hook. But what you're sewing, you're going to sew the ears to the hat, but you could do it with a yarn needle or you could do it with a hook. Like, don't go out and buy it if you don't have to. And then I'm also going to be using a 5mm custom crochet hook. I love the little pieces. Like, look at the bottom. It got the little spooky, like, it's kind of giving Halloween, but it's giving cutesy also. So I hope y'all can see that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the TV while it's recording because I'm airplaying it to the TV and I just want to make sure you can see it. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the tutorial. And again, thank y'all for watching. All right, so for the base of the hat, we're going to start off with a magic circle. You're welcome to do the chain 4 slip stitch method if that is more your vibe. However, I'm a magic circle girl. I say this in like every video, LOL. And then I pull my yarn tail out. That's a personal preference. Then you're going to chain up 2. This doesn't count as a double crochet. And then you're going to begin by placing 12 double crochets inside of your magic circle. I like to do my bases starting off with 12. You can do 11, 10, 13, 14, whatever you like. This is just my personal preference. Once you have all 12 double crochets in your magic circle, pull your magic circle closed, pull it tight, but not too tight. And then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end our round. This is how we'll end every round for this hat base. And I do have a tutorial dedicated to the base on my YouTube if you want like more in-depth information on the base. Now for round 2, we're going to chain up 2. We're going to be increasing in this round, so which means we're making the hat bigger so it could fit our head. So we're going to be putting 2 double crochets in every single stitch all the way around. 2 double crochets. In the last round, we just did 12. In this round, we're going to do 2 in each stitch. So you're going to end this round with a total of 24 stitches. Make sure every stitch gets 2 double crochets because we are increasing. And if you don't do 2, your base isn't going to increase correctly and it's going to look a little wonky. And then it's also probably not going to be the correct size for like an adult size head. So make sure every stitch gets 2 double crochets. And once you have all 24 double crochets in your round, slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 we did to start our round to end this round. This is what the base looks like at the end of round 2. For round 3, we're going to continue to increase because our base is still too small. So we're going to repeat kind of what we just did before. 2 double crochets go into the first stitch. However, in the next stitch, we're just going to put 1 double crochet. And then we're going to repeat that process. 2 double crochets inside of 1 stitch together. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next. 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next. 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next. Repeat that for this entire round, and you're going to end this round with a total of 36 stitches. Once you have all 36 stitches done, you are going to then slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round. Remember, this is how we end all of our rounds. And then this is what the base should look like at the end of round 3. And now we're going to get ready for round 4, another round of increasing. If we were making this hat for like a kid, I would say after round 4, you can stop increasing. But this would probably be like a little baby hat. But round 4 will be for kids. So we're going to chain up 2 and put 2 double crochets in our first stitch. This is just like what we did before, right? And then 1 double crochet in the next stitch. But then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. So for round 4, the pattern is going to be 2 double crochets inside of the same stitch. That's the increase stitch. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, followed by 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the stitch after that, and repeat this until you have a total of 48 stitches, not counting the chain 2. Once you have all 48 stitches, slip stitch into the top of your chain 2 to end your round. Again, if you were making this hat for a kid, you could stop here, but I'm making it for an adult, so we are going to do one final round of increasing. And so we're going to do 2 double crochets inside of our first stitch. That's our increase stitch. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet inside of the next stitch. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet inside of the next stitch. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat from the increase. 2 double crochets inside of that first stitch. 1 double crochet is going to go inside of our next stitch. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, followed by 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. So we're going to repeat that process all the way around. 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. And that is going to leave us with a total of 60 stitches. If you have all 60 stitches inside of your round, you are going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round. This is what the base looks like at the end of all our increasing. Again, if you want to do another round of increasing, you can, but I find that 5 is enough for an adult size hat. Now we are going to chain up 2 to start round 6, and we are going to just do 1 double crochet in each stitch for this entire round. 1 double crochet, no increases. So we're going to end this round with a total of 60 stitches as well. Once you have all your 60 stitches in this round, slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round. And you're going to repeat round 6 until you have a total of 12 rounds completed for the base. Chain 2, 1 double crochet in each stitch, slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round, and repeat that. And this is what the base will look like once you have a total of 12 rows completed. You're welcome to do more, but now I'm finna get ready to start the ruffles. And we're doing 4 or 5 rounds, but they're not super crazy, okay? So start off with a chain 2. And for this round, we're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch. However, we're only going to go through 1 loop. So you're going to go through the loop that's basically closest to you, which is the front loop, and just go through that first loop. This is what's going to push our ruffles out, so they kind of have the wavy hang instead of like perched up. But you don't have to do this, but I just feel like for wavy hats, going through that first or only 1 loop for that first round really makes the wavy hat kind of give off the wavy look. Once you finish doing all your double crochets, 1 double crochet in each stitch in the front loop only, slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round. Next, you'll chain up 2 because we're going to continue with our double crochet stitch for the ruffles. And for this round, we're going to be doing 2 double crochets inside of each stitch. So every stitch will get 2 double crochets, just like we did for the second round of the base. 2 double crochets to give us a nice little wave that's not too tight for our wavy brim for the hat. Once you finish doing that round, you are going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round, and we're going to proceed to chain up 2 to start our next round of ruffles. For this round, we're going to be doing what we did in round 4. 2 double crochets inside of that first stitch, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, followed by 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. And you're just going to repeat 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. Once you finish with that round, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round, and then you are going to chain up 2. Now we are going to be doing 2 double crochets inside of that first stitch, and then we are going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. So basically we're doing round 5 of the base for our ruffles. 2 double crochets in the one stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the stitch after that. And you're going to repeat that for the entire round for the ruffles. Once you have all the double crochets inside of that round, we're going to finish it like we do normally. Slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round. And now for this next round, which is our final round, we're just going to be doing 1 double crochet in each stitch. Just 1 double crochet. No increasing. 1 double crochet in each stitch. Once you have all your double crochets inside of this round, again, it was 1 double crochet in each stitch. You slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end your round. and then you're going to yarn over and pull through, and then you're going to snip your yarn tail and just continue pulling it out. I had to use a box cutter because I didn't know where my scissors were. And then that is how you finish off the hat. And now we're going to get ready to do the ears. Okay, so I've already made one ear, and a disclaimer, I'm kind of doing like a amigurumi, so if you've never did that, it might be a little confusing at first. You're going to leave about a foot-long tail because we're going to use that to actually attach the ear to the hat. Then you're going to do a slip knot, place a slip knot onto your hook, and you're going to chain up a total of 8 chains. This is just how wide I want the ears to be. You could do more or less depending on how skinny or how thick you want your Shrek ears to be. Once you have all 8 chains made, you slip stitch into that first chain that we made to connect everything. And then once you slip stitch into there, you're also going to do 1 single crochet into that same stitch. We are essentially going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch we did. And if it's easier for you to just make a rectangle and then connect it afterwards instead of just connecting everything and working in a circle, you're welcome to do that. But we're going to place one single crochet, inside of each stitch. You're welcome to do the double crochet. Just know like your ear will get since that stitch is longer, your ear will get longer faster. So you won't have to do as many rounds. So here's the amigurumi part. Once you have all 8 single crochets in your round, I do think it's easier to flip it inside out. And then pull that string through. That's the string we'll use to sew everything. Now, normally we would slip stitch into that first single crochet, or we would have done to end our round, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go into that single crochet and we're going to do another single crochet. So amigurumi is basically working in the round, which means you don't chain up anything. And I'm not using a stitch marker. I'm just counting, but you can use a stitch marker if you like. However, I'm just going to count, and I'm going to do a total of 56 stitches. So, the first round was 8. Every round is going to be 8. So you're going to do a total of 7 rounds because 8 times 7 is 56. And like I said, I prefer to just count out, and I just continue to crochet and just count until I've done a total of 56. But you're welcome to use a stitch marker. Another quick tip I found is that by crocheting and sticking my finger through the bottom of the ear kind of helps me keep everything together and continue to work around the circle. But you don't have to do that. Do what makes you feel comfortable. Once we have a total of 56 stitches, you're going to get ready to do our increasing to make the ear actually pop out. So you can use a stitch marker here, but I'm just going to count it out like I did before. And we're going to do we're going to be putting 2 double crochets in each stitch to increase. And I'm going to count it out. Since we had 8, I'm essentially going to be putting 2 in each stitch and counting until I get to the number 16, because 8 times 2 is 16. But if you want to use a stitch marker, you're welcome to. I just prefer to count. All right, once you have all 16 stitches done for your increase, and you can kind of see in that stitch where it's 2, so you kind of don't need a stitch marker, but it's just a security measure. Next, we're going to go into that very next stitch and just do 1 single crochet. And I'm going to continue doing 1 single crochet and count out until I have a total of 32 stitches, because I find that 2 rounds after the increase gets the ear just pointy enough to where it pokes out and you can kind of tell it's a Shrek ear. You're welcome to use a stitch marker like I said, but I'm just going to count. Once you have all 32 of your single crochets, you're going to yarn over, pull through, and snip your yarn. You don't have to do a super long tail because I just stuffed mine in the ear. And then you're going to turn to the back and you're going to pull that string through the next stitch. And I pull until the knot is, everything is kind of pulled through. And then I just stuff the yarn inside the ear because you're not going to really see it. If you want to tuck it correctly, you're welcome to flip it, chop it, and reverse it how you like. But now that we have the ears done, I'm going to get ready to tell you how to sew the ears to the hat. Now, before I officially sew it, I like to make sure my seam is kind of in the middle, in the back of the hat. So the seam would be the chain 2 we did. And you're just going to put that in the middle. This is the back of the hat, or as close to the middle as you can get it. And then you're just going to flip the hat to the other side. This is the good side, and we're going to get ready to add our ears. So I do like to add my ears in between rows 5 and 6, rounds 5 and 6, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You're going to thread your needle up. I just tie 1 little knot, and for the most part, it does stay pretty secure. Because the yarn is on the side, I'm going to just go ahead and insert my hook into round 6. But you can insert it into, normally I'll say insert it into round 6 to start your sewing, but you could do it in round 5 as well, because we're essentially going to be sewing around the entire, we're going to be sewing around the ear. So you can insert it in round 6 or round 5, whichever one makes you feel comfortable. And again, you can put your ears wherever you want to. But once you sew it through the bottom, we are essentially going to be going down and up and then just picking up a different stitch, basically, until you have all 8 stitches sewn in. So like I went down, now I'm going up, and I'm going up through a new stitch, and then I'm going to pull it through. And then I'm going to go back down and through the very next stitch. And you're going to repeat this up, down, weaving motion all the way around, pretty much sewing everything into rounds 5 and 6. You don't really want to like stretch it, but just go up and down. And in between rounds 5 and 6, picking up a new stitch each time and going through it to secure it. I do kind of pull my yarn every now and then just to like make sure it's tight. And this is just a sped up version of me doing the back. You're going to go up a stitch, down through the next, up a stitch, down through the next, bobbing and weaving essentially. And once you have it completely covered, I like to go through the front and back of the stitches together at one time, like I'm doing now, and just for security. And then I'm going to go back through the front, and then I'm done. My needle actually came off the yarn, but that was pretty much it. You don't need it to be like super duper secure. It can be a little wonky. It kind of gives off the Shrek vibe, but I'm going to just repeat that process to add my second ear, and then that's pretty much it, guys. Okay, guys, this is what the hat looked like, completely finished. Remember, you could do whatever you want for your ruffles. Honestly, you could add more ruffles or do less. You could actually do this. I've seen people do this hat as a beanie, but I just thought the ruffles would be super cute. And with the ears, again, if you have any questions or you want me to do another tutorial on the ears, I can. If you're not familiar with amigurumi, like I said, it may seem weird, but you can also use a stitch marker to mark your stitches if that's what you prefer instead of counting, because sometimes, you know, you get confused on the count, or you forget, or you take a stitch out and forget to like subtract your count. So I understand that part. Also, like if you put the ears on and they're not like perfect, it's fine, because Shrek wasn't perfect, but he still got his fairy tale, period. So like even with them kind of sideways, it looks a little wonky, but it's still super duper cute. But again, any questions y'all have about the process, put them in the comments and I will make sure I answer those and try to walk you through the process if you're confused or need some extra help. Thank y'all again for watching. And if you do make this hat, you could tag me on TikTok or Instagram or even in these comments. My username on all those platforms is Strangz, and I'll put that on the screen for y'all. And I can't wait to see what colors and what little Shrek hats y'all make. Toodles.